Welcome back. I'm Harrison, and today we're going to hop into a few different things, but mainly this video is going to be about these symbols that I'm adding to my artwork, these line art pieces, and the symbols that you're seeing pop up here and there in my video and on my channel. It's the symbol half of the theme of this channel, which is nature meets symbolism, and we're going to hop into where these symbols come from, what are they all about, and why do I do them. So let's hop into the whole shebang. So first off, where do these symbols come from? Well, as you can imagine, they come from this old noggin of mine. They come from my imagination. And why do I do this? Well, let me just explain something to you. Let me give you a little bit of backstory about my journey, both as a human, but also as an artist. So there's mainly two types of artists in the world, from what I can tell. There's the artists who, focus solely on one discipline. If they're a watercolor illustrator, they're going to die a watercolor illustrator. But there's also the type of artists who like to dabble. They're professional dabblers, masters of none, if you will. And I fall firmly into that second camp, where I consider myself a little bit of an experimentalist when it comes to the arts. And I really enjoy picking a discipline, picking a skill set, learning it. And when I get to a certain degree of competency in it, I want to go into a different lane of expression and learn about that, because for the most part, I have my what defined. I know what it is I'm trying to communicate to the world, to all 8 of you who are watching this video, but I haven't quite figured out how to best communicate that, because I've experienced something quite magical in my life on this earth, and I'm trying to communicate that through the artwork and in a way that is well received by you, that can touch you, hopefully, in just 1/10 of the way that my experiences have affected me. So, before we get too far into what that means, let me give you the whole background, the whole backstory of what's led me to this point today as an artist and as an expressionist with these symbols and these flowers. So, starting out, a couple years ago, I found myself living in a yurt off-grid in the middle of a forest. We're not going to get into how I got there. That's probably going to be in a different video, but I'm painting a little bit of a picture for us to fill in later on down the road. But essentially, for 2 years of my life, I lived in the middle of a forest. And as you can imagine, when you go camping, when you go outdoors on the weekends or on vacation, you get to experience a little bit of that domestication that we as humans have kind of put on ourselves as we've progressed throughout history, where, over time, we've become a little bit more, progressive, a little bit more domesticated in a good way, in my opinion. But when we go outdoors, we feel connected to a previous version of what it is to be human, to be a little bit in the wild, to be surrounded by the wild, to be a part of the unknown a little bit, where it's not just everything defined by humans, created by humans, for humans. You are only 1/10 of that environment when you go outdoors. So in that comes a little bit of mystery. Over time, archetypically speaking, the wilderness, the woods, the forest is all represented. The unknown, the mysteries. I'm not going to get too far into that, but essentially all that to say, that feeling you feel when you go camping, I lived in that feeling for 2 years. And when you live in that feeling for 2 years, you get to experience parts of the wilderness that are quite unique, quite special. They most certainly left an impression on this little artsy boy. So, what that left for me is a relationship with the unknown that has always been the wilderness throughout history. And so I try to represent that unknown aspect of the forest through these symbols. It's very much like how fairy tales are, in that, there's a lot of rumors about this fairy, that fairy, these fairy tales, audible storytellings, but it's not, a scientific book. It's not defined in black and white. And there's an aspect of the natural world that is that for us as humans. And when you live and participate in that place, it becomes a part of you. And so those experience with the wild unknown, I'm trying to communicate that in my artwork. Am I doing a good job of it? You know, probably not, frankly, because I'm early on in my arts journey with this expression, with what you guys have seen on this channel. And there's a long way to go before I reach that level of competency. But essentially, that's what the symbols represent, the unknown. And it's most certainly, I could sit here and tell you, well, you see, this symbol represents A, and then that's B, and then this little phrase in symbols represents hi, how are you? But at the end of the day, that would be the opposite of what these symbols represent. They're more of a vessel. They're more of just a symbol for the unknown of the wilderness, for your imagination to fill in the way you do when you go out in the middle of woods and you go camping and you see the stars at night, how your imagination starts running wild and the synapses in your brain starts triggering. You know, it's things like that that I'm trying to convey in an aesthetic form because at the end of the day, I am an artsy boy. So that is the whole rundown of what the symbols are, what they mean for me, what I'm trying to convey with them. They represent the undefined aspects of our world that we're meant to participate with, but not necessarily understand. So that's it. Feel free to ask me more questions about my artwork, these symbols, if you care at all. If you don't, hey, that's okay, because you know, I'm only as interesting as I am, and that's a little bit of my background, how we got here. It's not the whole story. That's 1/100th of the story, but that's part of it you might not have known already. So thanks for watching the video. Thanks for hearing me rant about these weird little symbols, what they represent, what they don't represent, and what they might mean for you. And I will see you in the next video.